Nearly a whole year ago, I got my first gaming PC. Having a PC has been a dream of mine since I was 10 or 11. Ever since I first saw Frankie on PC play DayZ and found out that Arma wasn't on console, I knew that I would soon split off from console gaming. So I toughed out the next few years until I was in a position where I could ask my brother to build me a PC, and everything worked out. So, of course, the first thing I did was I installed the DayZ mod and Arma 2, which I had already bought. But to my surprise, the DayZ mod had run its course. Most servers were struggling to keep over 30 players, or had terrible ping, and so I decided that DayZ was a lost cause. I knew that I really wanted to play a good multiplayer survival game. From there, I began searching for other options. At first, my mind had settled on Hurt World, but a good friend who goes by Sharkfighter convinced me that Rust was what I wanted. So, I got Rust. Me and Shark joined an official server. At first we struggled and had no idea what we were doing. We didn't know what scrap was, we didn't know what road signs did, and we thought that we could just play the game without even building a base. So eventually we learned how things worked. We even ended up finding a shit ton of gear, shotguns, semi-automatic pistols, and we tried building a small shack, but we ended up getting killed by a local before we could finish the base. Discouraged, we gave up playing on official servers, and we turned to community servers. I found a server that I thought looked nice, titled Rust in Peace. We joined and ended up eventually learning how workbenches work, and sat down a little level 1 workbench. We just set the thing down without even building a base, and we set it down as close to the gas station monument as we could. We made crossbows and armor, and began learning more and more about the game. We eventually got killed by the patrol helicopter, which will randomly spawn in from time to time and patrol the map and kill anyone who it deems geared. This discouraged us for the day, but on the next day, we got right back on and eventually found our workbench in the same spot. We built a base around it and declared the gas station ours. Fast forward, we get raided, but we eventually get back on our feet, and all is well. We eventually find a dinky little revolver and research it. While we had learned much, I can still distinctly remember myself doing retarded things like throwing superior armor away because the armor we had looked cooler, and we didn't know that walls had a weaker side and a stronger side. But we continued at this tiny base for several days. We met some new folks who threatened to raid us if we didn't bribe them with scrap and other things. We even made ourselves a name. While running to a monument, we found a sword, and we both wore riot helmets. We called ourselves the Riot Crusaders. Everything was going great, but eventually things turned dark. A man eventually turned up, one that we would forever remember. His name, Get Shreks CSGO Live. We woke up one day to find that we were both dead. We returned to our base location. Absolutely nothing left. All was gone. No workbenches, not even a trace of the base, and we had no idea who was behind us. With this, we headed north, and based inside of a comfy little forest, in which our entire base was turned inside out. We were pretty much asking to be raided. During the time we were in this base, we made enemies of a group which had taken over our previous location. They all wore buckets as helmets, so of course we called them the Bucketheads. We fought these Bucketheads fiercely and had a lot of fun in this small little base. Eventually we got raided after about 2 or 3 days. Once again, all gone. And so once again, we moved to a different location. Didn't even last 24 fucking hours. We were being targeted. We were fed up, and asked in chat who was continuously raiding us, to which we got the reply from Shreks. As soon as we got this reply, we knew our enemy. We eventually found out that Shreks was teamed with these Bucketheads. Soon the Bucketheads lost those buckets and became Shreks soldiers, armed with AKs, semi-automatic rifles, and superior armor. We knew we had no chance against Shreks and his army, but we knew we could protect ourselves. We eventually split up and based separately, but remained allies. Soon after basing, I was raided, and I ended up moving back in with Sharkfighter. From here, we flourished. This base lasted very long. We got AKs, we got metal armor. I can still recount the very moment we got our first AK. I was scaling the dome wielding a semi, still wearing wooden armor. Shark sat near the bottom with an SMG. When suddenly we're attacked. 2 people with AKs. We thought we were screwed. This moment remains in my head to this day as one of the most tense moments of my life. I could feel my fucking heart pounding. Shark attempted to hold them off at the bottom while I provided overwatch with my rifle. I managed to help keep them suppressed, and Shark went in for the kill. He got him. If there was one thing we knew, it was that AK fags always return, even more geared. So we grabbed the AKs and ran for our lives. We researched the AK as soon as possible, and everything from there on was fine. With our AKs and metal armor, we were set to at least defend ourselves in the event that we got attacked while we were online. One morning, we awoke to find that somebody had built a base near us. We decided to leave them alone since we were fully on defensive mode. One day, we were returning from a loot run and found 2 people sitting around our base. Our minds almost instantly jumped to Shrek and his crew, and we opened fire. We eventually find that these people are different, and we declared a ceasefire. These 2 were fairly nice, and they decided to invite us into their base. Their base is the same base that we found near ours the day before. These strangers' names too will become very familiar. Ngrasta and Shark. Yeah, now there's 2 sharks. Considering our 2 bases being close by, we decided to team up, and then we built a fairly large base to house all 4 of us. To this day, I still consider Ngrasta and Shark to have been excellent players. For days, all 4 of us sat in voice chats discussing Rust and plans. One of the greatest moments of my life I still remember being me making Ngrasta laugh out loud after showing him a video. Now we actually had a chance against Shreks, and with joining these 2 experienced players, they made for great teachers. Well, even though I learned a lot through Ngrasta and Shark, one of the stupidest things I've ever done in Rust still remains to be the time I scrapped several stacks of sewing kits because I didn't know what use they had, and this only made me seem to be a leech off of their supplies to them. Now that we had power against Shreks, me and Sharkfighter walked around the map without fear. One day, we decided to raid a small base that we had found not too far earlier. This base had Nazi imagery plastered all over it.
Y'all sons of bitches are wasting your time. I told y'all sons of bitches you wasting goddamn time.
We began to return to base, feeling happy from this funny experience of hearing people in their base yell at us to fuck off as we raided them. On our return, we decided to check the gas station to see what we could find. Instead of finding food or loot, we found Shrek's entire squad looting the gas station. Sharkfighter got taken down fairly quickly, though before he got down, he got the glory of killing Shrek. I somehow got inside of the gas station and found a spot to hold out. 3 soldiers versus me, wielding an AK and wearing metal armor. I hid behind a door and I took 2 down who were oblivious as to where I was hiding. 2 down, 1 more to go. I'm very low on health and low on ammo. A naked rushes in, spots me, and I take him down. I grab whatever armor and guns I can grab and run. I'm pinned down. Shrek has a sniper in a tower not far from the gas station. I call for Sharkfighter to come help suppress the sniper and he comes. I give him whatever I could get from his body, he helps suppress the sniper, and we make a run for it. We split up and eventually make it north of the gas station when suddenly, I hear the most morale-shattering sound I've ever heard. One of Shrek's goons was perched waiting for me on the other side of the road, set up with a fully automatic M249 saw with an ACOG sight and a laser attached to it. He fires in slow, controlled automatic shots. At this time, I had no idea that there was even an M249 in the game, and that it could be used effectively as a sniper, so I just hear the sound of rounds firing at a controlled rate of fire, and the sound of these bullets hitting the ground next to me. Some of these shots coming fairly close. I can even see the arc of these shots coming from the other side of the road. I somehow made it away from the gunfire without a scratch. Eventually we met back up and made it back to our base. This one single fucking moment tops any moment that I've ever had in Rust. We never lived that down. I had that same feeling that I had when we first got AKs, but amplified tenfold. I was fucking shivering. I would like to remind you that none of that was dramatized. This was one of the greatest feelings ever. With the help of my friend, us 2 destroyed our biggest enemy, Shrek and his goons, and avoided his sniper fire. We continued throughout the wipe almost untouched. We were raided once, but recovered fairly quickly. We even decided to loot a downed helicopter after Shrek had taken it down, although that was unsuccessful. All of this happened over one single month, even if it was spent cooped up in my room playing Rust.